Welcome to a cozy autumn what I eat in a week. We're trying to eat everything that's in the fridge and in the cupboard before we move to Denver. So let's get into it. Now, if you've never watched one of my videos before, I try to eat as seasonally as possible. This means trying to do research into what's available to me during this time of year, wherever I am. And I'm currently in northern Michigan, so things like squash, all the different kinds of squash and pumpkins and sweet potatoes and onions, they're all the kind of things that are available. So I'm trying really hard to eat as many of those things as possible that we have in the house, just to make sure we don't leave with lots of things left. So today I'm just having a really simple salad of trying to eat up the greens that we have, some local dandelion greens, and then using a baked delicata squash as well. After that, I had an apple cinnamon. It was delicious. When we're eating things that are in the cupboard and just to reduce our waste, we end up eating a lot of things that are kind of weird, kind of simple, but that works perfectly for me. This was just rice, greens that needed eating, some kimchi that needed eating, and some tofu. Okay, so for breakfast, I honestly just had some chips and salsa because I needed eating. My husband's mum bought this cream cheese thinking that it was going to be delicious, and she actually hated it, so she gave it to me, which is why we have it. So I was just having one of those because I couldn't wait for my sandwich to toast, because American toasters are so slow. Or maybe it's just this one. Oh no. I'm not a fan of these drinks. I just couldn't help myself. When things are around, I just have to drink it.
You find that? I cracked and thought, what's that, a hard seltzer or something?
No, in that box that your grandpa brought over, there were some sparkling waters in there.
Good there.
I thought most of them were hard seltzers, and I was like, not for me.
Not for me right now.
For a snack later, I ate some rice that was left over that I needed to, and again with some kimchi. It's a super simple snack. People might think that this is really boring, but these are two of my favorite things, rice and kimchi. Again, for dinner, I bought way too much broccoli this week, so we're trying to finish that, finish up some old pesto that we'd made, and some other greens as well. So it's incredibly windy outside today and miserable and very autumny. So I thought I'd make something proper today. We're gonna make a vegan chili with things like baked squash, and then we're also gonna make a kind of like cherry pie type thing. We bought some frozen cherries from a local orchard, I think, which have been frozen so that they are perfectly ripe and ready to go. So I'm gonna make that today. It just feels like a cozy day, and also I haven't been eating proper food really this week, so I wanna make a big chili that we have in the fridge that we can just have whenever we want. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of Rainbow Plant Life, so I'm following her recipe for the chili today. Again, trying to use that, we had loads of onions, we had loads of pinto beans as well in the cupboard, which is why this worked perfectly. I'll leave the recipe linked below because it's obviously not my recipe, so I want you to go and check out the original. A chili is a really great thing to make if you have a lot of stuff that you want to use up, especially like vegetables and stuff that's in your fridge. I find that chilies are really easy to use up those kinds of things because you can really just blend them into the sauce. We didn't have any rice left, so we're just using some acorn squash as a kind of side dish. Now we also had a lot of cashews, which I never usually buy, and so we wanted to use these up, and also some coriander and some limes. So I made a coriander and lime cashew sour cream, which was actually so good. One of the best things about this recipe is it reduces your food waste, because obviously we're using up everything that's in the fridge, but we're using coriander stems, and coriander stems are so flavorful. This was such a delicious meal, and it kept us going for several days. I just really like acorn squash. For dinner we pretty much had the same thing, but we just put it in a burrito. Used up some greens that needed using up, used up that acorn squash, put some chili on top, and then I tried to fry them like a burrito to close them. It kind of worked, but obviously it opened a little bit. They were still delicious. Presentation is not everything. This is a warming, cozy, delicious meal that was really easy and very quick to put together. So this is very unlike me not to be eating breakfast, but I'm getting a lot of work done, so I'm not sure what's happening there. But I made some dough yesterday to make some bread, so that is still rising. It's been rising for almost 12 hours now, and we're just going to go to the local farm shop. It's about 4 miles away, and we're going to get some acorn squash because it's one of my favorites, and we're going to just roast that and make a kind of creamy acorn squash soup for lunch, and then have it with that bread as well. In the meantime though, I have got a bagel from the freezer. I'm just going to put this in the toaster to defrost and then have some peanut butter and jam or something really just to tide me over. Unsurprisingly, I did not put on what I said I was going to. I ended up putting more of that vegan cheese or cream cheese onto the bagel because I knew it wouldn't get eaten once we'd left. So again, just using something simple and getting it done. The local farm has an amazing array of affordable squash. Okay, so from the farm we got 3 acorn squash that we're going to roast, and then we also got a bag of Honeycrisp apples. These are my favorite apples here, so we had to get them. Some of them are pretty big, so. After the dough that I had been rising or fermenting or whatever it's called for about 18 hours, I prepared it and I put it in the oven. I think I finally found the best way to make it rise and look good, and it's the folding method. This, I mean, how good does that look? It was a little undercooked, unfortunately. I was just getting worried that it was going to get burnt, but should have left it for another 10 minutes.
I haven't feeling that we're probably going to need it in a box.
Whenever I have carrots in the fridge that need eating, I love to put things like oil, maple syrup, salt, and just bake them. This is actually one of the only ways that I actually like carrots. Although raw carrots are, I guess they're fine too. We also had some tempeh, which I'm really looking forward to trying to make myself when we move into our new place. But I just mixed in all the other stuff that we had. Again, greens, 1 tomato that we had left, trying to finish that sauerkraut, an apple, the carrots, and then I also had a piece of bread as well because I love them carbs.
He felt like he had to escape something, but he didn't know what, and he didn't know where to go. He said he'd initially found one, but he'd been all the local MPs that had governed the constituency over the course of his lifetime.
So I've been listening to Dolly Alderton's latest book, Ghosts, and I'm really enjoying it. It feels very, I don't know, she clearly grew up a very similar way that I did, so a lot of it's quite relatable to me. But for today, I am making a acorn squash soup, trying to use up some flour, so we're going to be making some flatbreads as well, some salt, yeast, all of that kind of stuff, using up some olive oil, just trying to, again, use up what's in our house so that we don't waste any food. And flatbreads are one of the easiest things to make. It's literally bread flour, all-purpose flour, yeast, salt, water and oil, and that's literally it. They're also really easy and it's quite hard to get wrong. As long as you roll them quite thin and wait for them to puff up, then they have this really nice sort of chewy, soft, flexible texture. For the soup, we're using some more cashews to give it that creamy texture, so I don't have to use any kind of fake dairy or kind of plant-based cream. And then I just put in some onions that had also gone in the oven with some roasted garlic and salt and vegetable stock. And that was pretty much it. This was a really rich and delicious meal. I followed the instructions on the front, adding sugar and flour, but not too much sugar. There's too much sugar in American dishes, especially in desserts. So I always put in half of what they ever suggest, and it's definitely enough. This was a cozy round off to the end of this week of eating. This wasn't everything, but it was quite a lot. Again, it's been a chaotic week where I've been trying to get a lot of work done, but that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.